Hey everyone. Welcome back to our mindful journey. Have you ever wondered how to maintain your peace and serenity, but actually find yourself accepting things from others that weigh you down? Like those moments when you feel as if the weight of others' expectations is dragging you down, and their opinions are shaping your path more than your own heart. And what if I told you all this can be changed? That you can create a life where these burdens simply roll off your back. Yes, my friends, today we are diving deep into the wisdom of Zen Buddhism, uncovering a powerful approach to ensure that nothing and no one can disturb your inner tranquility. As the Buddha once said, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. This is why it's crucial to protect your mind and spirit from the unnecessary burdens others try to place on you. These teachings aren't just about saying no to what doesn't serve you, they're about reclaiming your peace and walking the path of true freedom. But before we dive in, I've got a challenge that will set the tone for what's about to unfold. If you're ready to step into your power and let your silence echo louder than any words, drop a comment below with the phrase, "I love peace." This isn't just a statement. It's a declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show the world and yourself that you're not just stepping back. You're stepping up in a way that will make them feel your absence like never before. Let's see how many of you are ready to embrace this powerful shift and make your presence undeniable, even when you're not there. 1. Negative criticism without constructive feedback. So folks, let us discuss the first thing you should never, ever accept from anyone. Negative criticism without constructive feedback. You know those moments when someone decides to offer their opinion without actually helping you grow? Yeah, that's the kind of negativity we're talking about today. Zen Buddhism teaches us to embrace growth, peace, and self-improvement. But when someone throws negativity at you without a shred of helpful advice, it's like they're trying to plant weeds in the garden of your mind. And guess what? You don't have to let those weeds take root. Let's start by clearing up the difference between negative criticism and constructive feedback. Negative criticism is often rooted in someone else's frustrations, insecurities, or desire to put others down. It's those biting remarks that sting, but don't offer any insight on how to improve or do better. On the other hand, constructive feedback is like a friendly nudge in the right direction. It's meant to help you grow, learn, and become a better version of yourself. Now imagine someone comes up to you and says, "You're doing this all wrong," but they don't give you a single clue on how to do it right. That's not helpful. It's just demoralizing. It's like telling a plant it's growing in the wrong direction, but not giving it the sunlight it needs to find the right path. You deserve better than that. Zen Buddhism offers us a beautiful perspective on dealing with criticism. The great Zen master Shunryu Suzuki once said, "In the beginner's mind there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind there are few." This quote reminds us that being open to learning and growth is crucial. But, and this is a big but, the feedback we receive must nourish our growth, not hinder it. If someone is just throwing negativity your way, without helping you see the possibilities for improvement, then they're not contributing to your growth. They're just trying to pull you down. In Buddhism, there's also the concept of right speech, which is part of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right speech means speaking in ways that are truthful, beneficial, and kind. If someone's criticism doesn't align with these principles, then it's not something you should accept. It's like receiving a gift that's beautifully wrapped but contains nothing but hot air inside. Empty and disappointing. Imagine you're at work and you've just given a presentation that you worked really hard on. Afterward, A colleague comes up to you and says, "That was a mess, I don't even know what you were trying to say." Ouch, right? Now what if instead they said, "I think your presentation could have been stronger if you had clarified your main points a bit more." The second comment still points out a flaw, but it also offers a path forward. You can take that feedback and use it to improve, whereas the first comment just leaves you feeling deflated. Let's take it a step further. Imagine you're working on a personal project, something you're passionate about, and someone comes along and says, "This isn't going to work. It's a waste of time." How does that feel? Not great, I bet. But what if instead they said, "I see what you're trying to do here, but have you considered approaching it from this angle?" The difference is night and day. The first comment shuts you down, while the second one opens a door to new possibilities. Negative criticism without constructive feedback can be toxic. It's like a slow poison that seeps into your self-confidence and erodes your motivation. Zen Buddhism teaches us to cultivate mindfulness and awareness in our interactions, to ensure that we are contributing positively to each other's lives. If someone is giving you feedback that doesn't build you up or help you grow, then it's time to question why you're accepting it in the first place. Here's a little humor to lighten the mood. Think of negative criticism like a bad gift from a relative who never really understood your tastes. You wouldn't keep that ugly sweater or weird gadget, right? You'd probably thank them politely and then tuck it away in a drawer, never to be seen again. The same goes for unhelpful criticism. Thank the person, if you must, but don't let their negativity take up space in your life. One of the core teachings in Buddhism is the concept of letting go. Buddha himself said, "You only lose what you cling to." This applies perfectly to negative criticism. If you cling to the hurtful words of others, you give them power over you. But if you let go, you retain your peace and your power. Remember, it's not about ignoring feedback altogether. It's about discerning what's valuable and what's not. Imagine yourself as a serene lake, with clear water and a peaceful surface. When someone throws a stone into the lake, negative criticism, the water may ripple for a moment, but soon it returns to calm. You don't have to hold on to the ripples. You can let them pass, and your inner peace will remain. So what's the takeaway here, folks? You have the right to protect your peace. You have the right to choose what feedback you accept and what you reject. Zen Buddhism teaches us that growth and learning are lifelong journeys, but they should be nourished by positive energy, not hindered by negativity. Next time someone tries to offer you negative criticism without a hint of constructive feedback, remember that you are the gardener of your own mind. Don't let anyone plant weeds in your garden. Instead, seek out the sunlight of constructive advice, water it with your own efforts, and watch as you grow into the best version of yourself. And now, a little task for you. Drop a comment below with the words, "I choose peace." It's a powerful reminder that you are in control of what you allow into your life. By choosing peace, you're choosing to reject negativity and embrace growth. Plus, it'll be fun to see how many of you are committed to cultivating a peaceful, positive mindset. Remember, folks, you are worth more than empty criticism. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who offer you insights that help you grow, and who genuinely care about your journey. And most importantly, be that person for others. Let's keep spreading positivity, wisdom, and a little bit of Zen in this often chaotic world. After diving into the importance of rejecting negative criticism without constructive feedback, you might be wondering, why is it so crucial to reject these 9 things in the first place? What's the big deal? And more importantly, what happens if you don't? The answer lies in the core teachings of Zen Buddhism. Our inner peace and happiness are deeply influenced by what we allow into our lives. Each of these 9 things we're discussing today is like a tiny toxin. On its own, it might seem harmless or easy to ignore, but over time these toxins can accumulate, leading to stress, anxiety, and a sense of imbalance. Let's break it down with an analogy. Imagine your mind as a pristine, clear pond. When you allow negativity, toxic energy, or unreasonable expectations into your life, it's like tossing a handful of dirt into that pond. At first, the dirt might settle at the bottom, seemingly out of sight. But the more dirt you throw in, whether it's negative criticism, guilt, or unsolicited advice, the murkier the water becomes. Eventually, that once clear pond is so clouded that you can't see through it at all. Your peace of mind is disturbed, your clarity of thought is compromised, and you find yourself reacting to life from a place of chaos rather than calm. Now, what happens if you don't reject these things? The pond never clears. You might start to accept that murkiness as normal, losing sight of the tranquility that once existed. This is why it's so important to actively reject these 9 things. By doing so, you protect your inner peace, maintain your mental clarity, and keep your life aligned with the principles of Zen Buddhism. But here's the silver lining. Just as you can prevent the dirt from entering your pond, you can also begin to clear it out. By becoming more mindful of what you accept from others, you can start to restore your inner peace. Each time you reject something toxic or unhelpful, it's like taking a bucket of clean water and pouring it back into your pond, gradually restoring its clarity. So, my friends, this isn't just about avoiding negativity. It's about actively cultivating a life of peace, clarity, and balance. By rejecting what doesn't serve you, you're not only protecting yourself, you're also creating the conditions for true happiness and fulfillment. And isn't that what we're all striving for in the end? 2. Unsolicited advice. So folks, let us discuss the second point, unsolicited advice. Ah yes, the classic scenario where someone swoops in with their wisdom, whether you asked for it or not. We've all been there, right? You're casually minding your own business, and suddenly, someone decides to gift you their opinion, wrapped in a neat little package of, "You should." It's like being handed a present you never wanted, and then being told you have to keep it forever. Here's the thing. Unsolicited advice often comes from a place of ego rather than genuine concern. In Zen Buddhism, we're taught to seek wisdom, but it's equally important to recognize when to turn inward and trust our own instincts. As the Buddha wisely said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." This quote perfectly encapsulates why you should never accept advice that wasn't asked for. Because true guidance comes from your inner self, not from someone else's unsolicited opinions. Imagine this scenario. You're working on a project, fully immersed in your creative process, feeling pretty good about your progress. Suddenly, a well-meaning friend or colleague starts offering suggestions on how you could do it better or be more efficient. You didn't ask for their input, and yet here they are, trying to steer your ship in a direction you never intended to go. It's like someone grabbing the wheel of your car while you're driving. And guess what? You didn't even want to take that exit. Unsolicited advice can be distracting, even demoralizing. It can plant seeds of doubt where there were none before, making you question your own abilities and choices. This is why it's so important to guard your peace and stay true to your path. Zen teaches us to listen to our inner voice, the one that knows our true intentions and goals. When someone else's advice doesn't align with that, it's okay. No, it's necessary to gently decline it. And let's add a bit of humor to the mix. Have you ever noticed how unsolicited advice often comes from people who aren't exactly experts themselves? It's like getting cooking tips from someone who burns toast. So next time someone offers you their pearls of wisdom, out of the blue, just smile and remember that not every pearl is worth keeping. A great way to handle unsolicited advice is with a simple, "Thanks, I'll think about it." This response is polite but non-committal. It lets the other person feel heard without obligating you to follow their advice. In Zen Buddhism, we're encouraged to practice mindfulness and discernment. Not every piece of advice is meant for you, and that's perfectly okay. As we navigate through life, it's crucial to remember that you are the captain of your own ship. Others may offer directions, but only you know your destination. Embrace the wisdom of Buddha. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. In the present moment, your inner guidance is your best compass. So folks, let's make a pact today. No more accepting unsolicited advice that doesn't serve our highest good. Let's stay true to our path, trust in our own wisdom, and protect our 3. Guilt and shame. So folks, let us discuss our third point, guilt and shame. Now this one's a biggie. Have you ever noticed how guilt and shame can creep into your life like uninvited guests, making themselves at home, rearranging your mental furniture, and leaving a mess in their wake? It's time to put up a no vacancy sign for these two troublesome emotions and ensure they never get the best of you again. Guilt and shame are emotions that, unfortunately, many of us are far too familiar with. But here's the thing. These feelings are often imposed on us by others, whether it's family, friends, or society at large. They are like those sticky notes people slap on your back without you noticing, making you carry a weight that isn't yours to bear. In the teachings of Zen Buddhism, it's clear that these emotions do not serve our higher purpose and should be released, not received. As the Buddha wisely said, "You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." Let that sink in. You deserve love and affection, not guilt and shame. These emotions are not badges of honor. They are chains that bind you to past mistakes or others' expectations, keeping you from living freely and fully. Imagine this scenario. You've made a mistake, and someone keeps reminding you of it, trying to make you feel guilty or ashamed. Now, in a Zen mindset, you acknowledge your mistake, learn from it, and move on. But what happens when others keep dragging you back into that moment of guilt or shame? It's like trying to drive forward with your rearview mirror glued to your face. Impossible, right? This is where you need to assertively reject these emotions. You don't have to accept them just because someone else is handing them out. Humor time. Think of guilt and shame like a bad gift from that one relative who always gives you something weird for your birthday. You wouldn't keep that ugly sweater, would you? You'd politely decline, or, if you're like me, re-gift it to someone who actually might like it. Though who would want guilt and shame is beyond me. The point is, don't accept what doesn't belong in your life. Zen teaches us the art of letting go, and this is crucial when dealing with guilt and shame. It's about recognizing these emotions as harmful intrusions and choosing not to let them take root. Just like you wouldn't plant weeds in your garden, you shouldn't allow guilt and shame to grow in your mind. Take this to heart. You are not defined by your past mistakes, nor by the judgments others place on you. The Buddha also said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is your reminder that the present moment is where your power lies. Right here, right now, you can choose to let go of the guilt and shame that others try to impose on you. Imagine living a life where you are free from these toxic emotions, where you can make mistakes, learn from them, and continue on your path without being weighed down by the expectations or judgments of others. This is not just a dream, it's entirely within your reach. So folks, let's make a pact today. Refuse to receive guilt and shame from anyone, forever. Protect your peace and guard your spirit fiercely. Remember, Your worth is not up for debate, and it certainly isn't determined by the guilt and shame others try to make you carry. And before we move on, let's take a moment to affirm this together. Drop a comment below with the words, "I choose peace." This is your declaration that you will no longer accept these harmful emotions from anyone. Done, my friends? Let's move forward with that peace in our hearts and keep building the life we truly deserve. 4. Unjust expectations. So folks, let us discuss the fourth thing you should never receive from anyone: unjust expectations. Now this is a big one because, let's be honest, how many times have you felt the pressure of someone expecting you to be a certain way, act a certain way, or achieve something that just doesn't align with who you are? It's like being handed a script for a role you never auditioned for, yet somehow you're expected to perform it flawlessly. Not cool, right? Unjust expectations are those unrealistic demands or pressures that others place on you, often without considering your feelings, capabilities, or circumstances. These expectations can come from anyone: family, friends, bosses, or even society at large. And if you're not careful, you can easily find yourself trying to meet these demands at the expense of your own happiness and peace. Imagine this. You're living your life, doing your thing, and suddenly someone comes along with a checklist of things they expect you to do or be. It's like, "Hey, I know you're busy living your best life, but could you also do all this other stuff that I think you should be doing?" Talk about unfair, right? The problem with unjust expectations is that they often lead to feelings of inadequacy or failure, because no matter how hard you try, you're never going to meet someone else's ideal of what you should be. Now, let's get into some wisdom from Buddhism to help us navigate this. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." This means that true peace and contentment come from being aligned with your own values, and not from trying to live up to someone else's expectations. When you start to accept these unjust demands, you lose touch with your true self, and that inner peace starts to slip away. Let's break it down with a real-life scenario. Imagine you're working hard on a project that's close to your heart, something that genuinely fulfills you. Suddenly, a well-meaning friend or relative suggests that you should be doing something entirely different, something they think is more practical or respectable. Now you're torn between following your passion and meeting their expectations. This is where the teachings of Zen come in handy. Zen encourages you to listen to your inner voice and to live authentically. When you try to meet unjust expectations, you're essentially living someone else's life, not your own. But hey, life's too short to be anything but authentic, right? So here's a little humor to lighten the mood. Trying to meet someone else's expectations is like playing a game of hide and seek with yourself. You'll never win because you're not even sure what you're looking for. The key here is to set boundaries and to remind yourself that it's okay to say no to things that don't align with your values. Zen Buddhism teaches that the path to enlightenment is one of self-discovery and inner peace, not one of pleasing others. So, don't let anyone hand you a script that doesn't fit the story you're trying to write. Motivational moment, folks. Stand firm in your truth, because the only expectations you should ever meet are the ones you set for yourself. Embrace the freedom that comes with living authentically, and watch how your life transforms into something that truly reflects who you are. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with the words, "I choose peace." Let's make a collective commitment to reject unjust expectations and live our lives in a way that brings us true happiness and peace. Remember, the only person you need to impress is yourself. 5. Jealousy and envy. So folks, let us discuss the fifth point on our list, jealousy and envy. Now I know we've all encountered these two sneaky emotions, either coming from others or even bubbling up within ourselves. But here's the kicker. When these emotions are directed at you by others, they can be like a shadow that follows you around, weighing you down and distorting your sense of self. Today, we're going to talk about why you should never, ever accept jealousy and envy from anyone, forever. Jealousy and envy are like uninvited guests at a peaceful gathering. They come in, create chaos, and leave you feeling unsettled. In the teachings of Zen Buddhism, we learn that these emotions are rooted in comparison and a lack of inner peace. As the Buddha said, in the end, these things matter most. How well did you love? How fully did you live? How deeply did you let go? And guess what? Letting go of jealousy and envy, whether it's yours or someone else's, is a big part of living fully and peacefully. Imagine this scenario. You've just shared some exciting news with a friend. Maybe you got a promotion at work, or you're embarking on a new fulfilling project. Instead of celebrating with you, this friend's face clouds over with a subtle, or not so subtle hint of jealousy. You can almost feel their envy seeping into the room. They might make a backhanded compliment, or worse, start downplaying your achievement. It's like they've just thrown a wet blanket over your moment of joy. Now here's the important part. You don't have to accept this negative energy. Jealousy and envy from others are projection of their own insecurities and discontent. They have nothing to do with you, your success, or your happiness. Zen teaches us that everyone's journey is unique, and comparing yourself to others is like trying to compare a river to a mountain. They're both beautiful, but in entirely different ways. So, what should you do when someone directs jealousy or envy towards you? First, recognize it for what it is, a reflection of their inner turmoil, not yours. Don't let their insecurities become your burden. Instead, respond with compassion, but also with firm boundaries. You might say something like, "I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm really proud of what I've accomplished, and I hope you can be happy for me too." This way, you acknowledge their feelings without absorbing them. Here's a bit of humor for you. Jealousy is like a mosquito bite, annoying, itchy, and completely unnecessary. The best way to deal with it, don't scratch it. The more attention you give it, the worse it gets. Instead, let it be, and it'll eventually go away. Similarly, when someone tries to infect you with their jealousy, don't engage or let it fester. Just brush it off and keep moving forward on your path. As you continue to grow and achieve, it's important to surround yourself with people who genuinely support you and want to see you thrive. Let go of those who can't celebrate your success. After all, life is too short to be weighed down by others' negativity. Remember the wise words of the Buddha. You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. So, my friends, as we navigate our own paths, let's make a pact to never receive jealousy and envy from anyone, forever. Instead, let's focus on building a life that's rich in love, compassion, and authentic connections. And hey, while we're at it, why not drop a comment below with the words, "I choose peace." It's a powerful affirmation that we're committed to keeping our lives free of negativity and embracing the peace that comes from within. 6. Unnecessary drama. So folks, let us discuss our 6th point, unnecessary drama. Drama, the spice of life for some, but for those of us on a Zen path, it's more like a splash of soy sauce in your green tea, totally unnecessary, and ruins the flavor of peace we're trying to cultivate. Now let's be real. We've all encountered those people who seem to thrive on chaos, the ones who can turn a peaceful afternoon into a soap opera with just a few words. But here's the thing. Zen Buddhism teaches us that peace of mind is our most valuable asset, and accepting unnecessary drama into our lives is like willingly letting someone crash a noisy cymbal in the middle of your serene meditation. It just doesn't belong. Imagine this, you're sitting in your favorite spot sipping a cup of tea. and suddenly a friend calls with the latest gossip, stirring up all kinds of unnecessary tension. Before you know it, your peaceful day has turned into a whirlwind of emotions that have nothing to do with you. That's exactly what accepting unnecessary drama feels like, being dragged into a storm you didn't even see coming. Buddhist wisdom offers us some clear guidance here. The Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." So why let someone's drama-filled words disturb your inner tranquility? Instead, let's focus on bringing peace into our lives, one mindful moment at a time. The problem with drama is that it's contagious. You might start out as an innocent bystander, but before long, you're caught up in the emotional roller coaster, feeling drained, stressed, and far from your Zen-like state. That's why it's so crucial to recognize when someone is trying to pull you into their drama, and to firmly, but kindly, say no. Here's a little humor to keep it light. Think of drama as a hot potato. The only way to win is not to catch it. You might think you're being a good friend by listening to every detail of someone's dramatic saga, but in reality, you're just passing the hot potato back and forth, getting more burned with each toss. The best approach? Don't pick it up in the first place. Now, I'm not saying you should cut off all your dramatic friends, though if that's what it takes, no judgment here. But seriously, the key is to set boundaries. When you feel that drama creeping into your peaceful space, politely steer the conversation away or excuse yourself from the situation. Remember, your peace is non-negotiable. Another Buddhist teaching that fits perfectly here is let go or be dragged. By refusing to engage in unnecessary drama, you're letting go of the chaos that could easily drag you down. You're choosing calm over conflict, clarity over confusion, and peace over pandemonium. So, folks, let's make a pact. The next time someone tries to hand you a steaming pile of drama, just smile, politely decline, and keep sipping your tea. Because at the end of the day, the only drama you should be part of is deciding whether to binge watch that new series or read a good book. And even that should be a peaceful decision. Now, before we move on, let's take a moment to affirm our commitment to peace. Drop a comment below with the words, "I choose peace." Because in this chaotic world, choosing peace is the most powerful thing you can do. Done, my friends? Let's keep this peaceful journey going. 7. Toxic relationships. So folks, let us discuss the 7th thing you should never ever receive from anyone. Toxic relationships. You know the ones I'm talking about. The kind that makes you feel like you're stuck in a never-ending emotional roller coaster, where peace and happiness seem like distant dreams. These relationships are filled with negativity, constant drama, and emotional drain, and they can leave you questioning your worth. Now that's something we just can't allow on our Zen journey, right? Imagine being in a relationship where every interaction feels like walking on eggshells. You're always on edge, trying to avoid conflict, but no matter what you do, it never feels like enough. Sound familiar? These toxic relationships often make you feel responsible for someone else's happiness, which, let's be honest, is a job no one signed up for. Buddha wisely said, "You, yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection." It's a powerful reminder that your well-being comes first. In Zen Buddhism, relationships are supposed to nourish your spirit, not drain it. Think of them as the soil in which your spiritual growth is rooted. If the soil is toxic, how can anything beautiful grow? That's why it's so important to set boundaries and refuse to accept relationships that bring more harm than good. You deserve connections that uplift you, not ones that pull you down. And hey, here's a bit of humor to keep things light. Ever noticed how toxic people seem to think they're the center of the universe? Well, newsflash, the universe doesn't revolve around their drama. Instead, It's high time you start orbiting around your own peace and happiness. So, let's make a commitment right here, right now. Drop a comment below with the words, "I deserve healthy connections." It's a small but powerful declaration that you're done with toxic relationships and ready to embrace the peace and joy that comes with positive, healthy connections. Remember, folks, life is too short to be weighed down by toxic people. Keep your circle filled with love, support, and positivity, and watch how your inner peace flourishes. You've got this. 8. Fear and doubt. So folks, let us discuss the 8th point, fear and doubt. These two sneaky little gremlins often creep into our lives, usually delivered right to our doorstep by others. You know, the ones who say, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Or, "What if it all goes wrong?" Fear and doubt can be paralyzing, and the worst part, they're usually not even ours to begin with. Imagine this. You're about to embark on a new adventure, maybe starting a business, moving to a new city, or pursuing a passion project. You're excited, motivated, ready to take on the world. Then someone comes along with a big fat bucket of fear and doubt, ready to douse your fiery enthusiasm. Suddenly, you're second-guessing everything. But here's the truth, these fears and doubts are often reflections of the other person's insecurities, not yours. Buddhist wisdom teaches us, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. If you allow others to plant seeds of fear and doubt in your mind, those seeds can grow into towering obstacles that block your path. But if you choose to reject those seeds, your mind remains a fertile ground for courage, determination, and positivity. Take a moment to think about it. When you allow fear and doubt to control your actions, you're not living your life. You're living someone else's. And let's be honest, who wants to live in someone else's shadow? Instead, trust in your own journey. Embrace the unknown with the confidence that you have everything you need within you. So folks, let's kick those fear and doubt gremlins to the curb. Remember, your path is yours to walk, not theirs to dictate. Stay strong, stay fearless, and keep moving forward with a clear heart and mind. And before we move on, why not drop a comment below and declare, "I choose courage." Let's make a stand together, because a life lived without fear and doubt is a life truly lived. 9. Material attachments. So folks, let us discuss the 9th point, material attachments. You see, in today's world, it's all too easy to get swept up in the idea that our worth is somehow tied to the things we own. But here's the kicker. Zen Buddhism teaches us that clinging to material possessions is like trying to hold on to water. It slips right through your fingers. Imagine this. You're working hard, saving up for that shiny new gadget, or maybe a designer outfit that everyone seems to have. You finally get it, and for a moment it feels great. But soon enough, the excitement fades, and you're left searching for the next thing to fill that void. The cycle never ends, and that's the trap of material attachment. Buddhist wisdom tells us the root of suffering is attachment. When we place too much value on material things, we open the door to unnecessary stress, envy, and even disappointment when those things are lost or don't bring the happiness we expected. What's worse is when others try to impose their materialistic values on you, pressuring you to keep up with their standards or making you feel less for having less. But here's where you flip the script. Instead of accepting this pressure, embrace the Zen principle of detachment. Recognize that true contentment comes from within, not from the latest trends or gadgets. Laugh off the idea that your happiness is for sale, because it's not. You're far richer in spirit when you're not weighed down by the need to accumulate things. So let's make a pact today. Drop a comment below with the words, "I choose simplicity." It's a reminder to focus on what truly matters: peace, relationships, and inner fulfillment. Remember, folks, the lightness you feel when you let go of material attachments is the true wealth. Keep shining, stay grounded, and live simply. That's where true freedom lies. So there you have it, folks. 9 things you should never receive from anyone, forever. These Zen Buddhist teachings are more than just ancient wisdom. They're practical steps to living a life of peace, freedom, and true happiness. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more insights that help you live your best, most mindful life.